Scott. Hi, Susanna. Hi, people who might be watching on YouTube. I'm Steve, and I gave my son Scott two of these little Vietnamese coffee makers for Christmas this year. Now it's a little bit after New Year's, and I realized that I didn't give my son a lesson in how to use the coffee maker, and that's what I want to do with this video. I picked up the coffee makers for Scott on my recent trip to Vietnam, where I also bought this coffee maker for myself, this coffee cup, and this package of Vietnam's finest coffee, Trung Nguyen coffee. I bought this as a set, the very fancy set. What I gave Scott was a much cheaper version of the coffee maker and cheaper, not so expensive coffee. But hey, Scott, it's pretty good. It's probably better than what you often drink, and it works the same way. So I'm going to give you this lesson and tell you a little bit about what I learned in Vietnam on how you actually use this little device to make yourself a perfect cup of Vietnamese coffee. Okay, I'm back, and a couple things have happened since I was here before. Number one, I heated up some water. And when you heat the water that you want to use should be between 185 and 195 degrees Fahrenheit. And the best way to know that you have the right temperature is to boil the water and then let it cool for a minute or two after boiling it. Back it down a little bit. A couple of other little things. First of all, if you want the perfect cup, it's best to preheat your cup. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in this cup and just let it sit there. I'm going to eventually dump that off. And also, you want to preheat your coffee maker a little bit. It just keeps the temperature a little hotter while you're making the coffee. And the way that you do that is the coffee maker has this little cap, which is also a bit of a stand. There's this little filter part, this kind of large saucer that has holes in the bottom of it. And there is the vessel and this little filter cap that you press down to put the coffee in there. So to preheat things, use the cap, put it down, put the saucer on here. That's going to catch the water, and just put a little bit of hot water in here, not so much that it's going to fill the cap, but you just want to let that sit there for a little bit, and it sort of helps preheat the apparatus there and bring it up to temperature for you. Okay, so I've let the coffee cup come up to temperature, warmed up a little bit. That feels good. I've let the coffee little filter device, that's called a phin, by the way, P-H-I-N, phin in Vietnamese. So now I'm just going to pour this out, kind of dump that out there. Got it nice and hot. Do the same with this, and we're ready to get started there. I'm going to start by assembling this, putting the saucer on the coffee cup and resting this down, and of course taking out the little filter that presses the coffee down. Now, as I said, this is Vietnam's top coffee. It's actually roasted to simulate the flavor of the very famous civet coffee, which is the coffee that is digested by the civet and passes through the civet's stomach. The acids in the stomach release certain flavors, actually more than 100 new flavors in the beans. It passes through, they collect the undigested beans, clean those off, wash those off, and package those and sell that for up to $100 for a half a pound. This is a lot less expensive, about $18 for a 250 grams. How much coffee do you use? Well, that's a question of taste. When I was in Vietnam, the way I learned it is that you want to fill this 1/3 of the way full. Using a little bit more coffee or a little less coffee is really done to your taste. More or less, you're going to take a rounded tablespoon is what you're going to use, and you put that in your cup. I think I'm going to use a little bit more because I like a little stronger coffee. And I can check to make sure that I have the right amount. Well, the first thing you want to do is you tap this in there a bit to level that coffee and knock it down in there. So you can tap it. I'm going to tap it with the spoon a little bit there. I'm going to take this, you take this between these two fingers. Now, of course, I'm doing it with my right hand because I'm left-handed. you're probably going to want to do it with your other hand. But either way, whatever I've been told, whatever is your taste, you want to develop your own style here. You put this in, don't press down, but just using the weight of the little filter, give it a couple of twists. If you press, you'll pack it too tightly. Then place the vessel on the little saucer on top of your cup, and you're ready to put your water in and start brewing. Start by putting just a little bit of water in this. You put just enough to cover the little filter part in there, and we're going to let that sit for about 20 seconds. Let that water, that first little bit of water, seep down and get absorbed by the coffee before we put in too much. 20 seconds, I've probably done 20 seconds. And now we take the water, again, temperature 185 to 195, and we fill this almost full. If there are some grounds that are loose and float up, no worries. That's not going to go back down through the little holes. It's not going to get in your coffee. Fill that up, and you put the top on. And now essentially you just have to wait. Now, how long do you wait? Interestingly, if you've done the pressure right and you have the right amount of coffee, this is going to drip at the rate of 1 drop per second. Well, mine's dripping a whole lot faster than that, so something's a little screwed up with mine. Maybe it's because I picked it up. But you want it to drip at the rate of 1 drop per second. If it's not dripping with that rate, next time put a little bit more coffee on, try a little bit more pressure, work on it till it drips at the rate of 1 drop per second. If you do that, then you have the proper action, the right amount of time that the water is sitting in the coffee and absorbing those wonderful aromas, and it will take about 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, for all of the water to drip through and for you to have your cup of coffee. Now, I'm making this coffee black. Vietnamese like to mix a little sugar in, hence the spoon that's used for the sugar. Often, I think actually the favorite way that I drink coffee in Vietnam is to use a little condensed milk. You put that in your cup first and then drip your coffee on top of it. And if you like iced coffee, you can take a glass with ice cubes. In the end, you stir the condensed milk and the coffee together and pour it into your glass of ice. One of the things that's nice about waiting for your coffee in the morning and the whole idea of 4 minutes is that's just about the right time to get your shit together in the morning, to think about what it is that you're going to do, to have a good day, to relax, to catch your breath. Of course, I can't do that because I'm talking, but if I wasn't talking, I would be relaxed. So, let's take a look. Yeah, it's just about done. Probably dripping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's dripping right at about the right speed right now. So it's, before I had sort of picked it up and tipped it, it was dripping a little fast. Now it's dripping just about right. 1 drop per second, not faster, not slower. And at that rate, 4 minutes, you have yourself a nice cup. Now, the beauty of the phin is that you don't actually have to wait all of that 4 minutes to start drinking your coffee if you're in a rush. Now, of course, you know, you can take the top at any time, turn it upside down, and then put the whole fin on top of the top, and that's going to catch the water that's dripping through and basically just park this whole thing while you're taking a little sip, and then you can put it back on when you're done. Now, mine's empty. The brewing's finished. I have a cup of coffee. Absolutely wonderful. A great cup of coffee. That's Vietnamese coffee. Tran Yuen coffee, the best in Vietnam. This is their Legend Day. Of course, what you have, Scott, is the cheaper version. But hey, don't feel bad. It's pretty damn good, too.